All right, what's up, guys? Mike Next Great Days here, and I've got a good friend of mine on here. I got Tej, one of our world's representatives this year. You want to say hello, Tej?
Hey guys, how's it going?
All right, so we're gonna sit down and do a little singles match and get a little insight on the mind of one of our world's competitors. So, how you doing, man?
I'm good, I'm good. Just kind of play testing for Worlds like right now.
Yeah, you got that coming up next week, or by the time this comes out.
Yeah, I'm leaving a week from Wednesday, so I'll be in Italy on Thursday, a week from Thursday.
All right, and now not only are you a world's representative, now you're also TCG Players New Jersey State Champion.
Yeah, that was pretty neat. I won yesterday. I think we only had about 35 people, and I played Cat, which was actually a pretty good deck.
So, so you're on the whole Curry Bandit train now.
I just wanted to try it because it's something that you could feasibly play for Worlds, just kind of like a variant of it. So I wanted to try the version yesterday and then see if it was good enough.
All right, so why don't you start with telling us how your nationals experience was this year?
It was, I mean, obviously it ended up pretty well, but I was kind of just going to play for fun. I didn't expect too much out of it. I thought the Fat Deck was a good meta call, but just in previous years I've had awful luck at major events. I've like always lost round one, always lost round two. My friends just had a running joke where I can beat good players, but I always lose to bad players, and it's just kind of always been that way where anybody that I lose to, ultimately ends up scrubbing the event later on. So this year, I actually played a lot of really decent players, so that worked in my favor. I was kind of able to expect the right play, and then they would make the right play. It worked out like that, and then, just the Fat Deck did, it was a very controlling deck, so I was able to control most of my games.
All right, so right now, you're out of Worlds, you're getting ready, or you're out of Nationals, you're getting ready for Worlds. You've done TCG Player. What has been the biggest part of testing, considering we have this combined ban list?
The thing that's interesting about the World's ban list is kind of that there's definitely not one just straight out best deck, but there's a lot of really good decks. I've been playtesting with Sean McCabe a lot, who's also going to Worlds with us. We've both been talking about how creating a deck that's going to be able to combat a myriad of, just a bunch of different decks. Yeah, the difficult part about playtesting for Worlds is just trying to find something that's going to be resilient. That's kind of the big thing to find for Worlds this year, is something that'll just be able to stand up against, anything really, because just looking at what people have qualified with so far, there have been so many different decks. Like Europe alone was 4 different decks. The four participants all played different decks. So we've been trying to figure out just something that'll be resilient, and it's been really hard.
Now, so you're trying to find something that is more so not going to brick on you as much, as opposed to playing something like Sylvan's, where it's either I'm going to utterly destroy you or I'm going to get destroyed.
Right, yeah, we definitely didn't want to play anything that was just going to lose to itself. Just because it's like not a risk worth taking. We both agree that we definitely want to play a deck where we get to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And our opponents are going to be able to play Yu-Gi-Oh! So kind of ruling out, those gimmicky decks like Reversal Quiz, things like that. It's probably just a better call to play something that'll, interact with the opponent as much as possible and try to win on positive interaction.
So, for you as a player, this is probably the biggest thing for you so far, right? Going into Worlds?
Yeah, this this is definitely the biggest thing that's happened to me so far. I mean, I've been playing for a while, but the last year I've had the most success, definitely by far. First regional top, first ARG top, and then Nats and now Worlds. So it's been a really, really great year.
So, I mean, obviously you're focusing on Worlds right now because that's got to be like your main. I'm putting all my energy into this. But what is your goal after Worlds? Now that you've got such a high accomplishment.
The goal after Worlds is really just to remain consistent. I mean, I don't want it to be like I topped one premier event for Konami and then just kind of fall off the radar. I'd rather kind of stay consistent, hopefully top some more events, maybe win one. I'll be doing that just by playtesting a lot, really.
So, I mean, let's talk about the other players on the team now. You mentioned Sean, all the other players. How do you feel about your Worlds team this year?
I feel really, really good about our team this year. We have a lot of different perspectives. Corey's a Magic player, so he'll be able to approach the game differently. I played Dion in top 4. I know he knows what he's doing. He's going to be playtesting with Corey, so they're both going to be coming in strong. Obviously, Sahabi just won the 20K, so he's definitely on his game. Played Jimmy, I think Jimmy or Johnny is his name. He got fourth. I played him in the third, fourth playoff. He's another really, really solid player, so I'm confident about all six of us. I think any of us could win. And from what I've heard, I think Oliver, who won Dragon Duel Worlds last year, he'll be playing in the main event this year because he's too old for Dragon Duels. And he's just, I mean, he is a crazy good player. So I would not be surprised if he won either.
So you mentioned that like you guys are kind of like paired off into your playtest groups. Now, do you guys making sure to communicate a lot? Has that been like a big goal? Is to kind of work together to make sure that North America brings home a championship now?
Yeah, I think the way that most of us have been doing it, from what I understand, is like Corey and Dion have kind of paired together because they go to the same locals. McCabe and in the same light, McCabe and I have been talking a lot because we both go to the same locals. We've been talking a lot online, but then also we see each other at locals and can kind of discuss ideas and play test in person, which has been really useful.
Now, when it comes to what you're looking at, like, obviously, you got to think to yourself, you know, these people are all on the same level I am, whether or not I play with them or not, being, like, you know, people coming from Europe, people coming from Japan. How do you, like, what is your biggest fear right now, and how are you, like, assessing it?
My biggest fear would probably be just losing to myself and misplaying. I've been, ever since the WCQ ended, I've been working on just tightening up my technical play, trying to avoid misplays, replaying games in my head, replaying them actually on the table and like seeing if there's better ways for me to do things and just trying to make sure that when I get to Worlds, I'm not going to lose to just playing poorly. I want to make sure that I am in control. I win every game that I'm in control of winning, I guess is one way to say it. So that's definitely something I'm working on, and I'm still every day I'm scared about just misplaying.
Now, is this going to be your first tournament going like overseas for another event?
Yeah, it is, actually.
So are you excited to, like, you know, kind of get a feel about, like, what the player base is and other, like, obviously you're going to spend some time in Italy, so you're going to probably get to see a lot of the Italian players. Are you excited, like, to kind of feel, because, you know, we're always talking about, like, oh, you know, Japan has a more aggressive play style than America and blah, blah. Are you kind of excited to try to, like, take in that and learn a lot from the Italian player base?
Yeah, I definitely love seeing how other players play, just seeing their perspective, how they approach each game, each turn. Even here, even in the US, just seeing how other players play. I feel like I've gotten better by watching other players, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how people from all over the world are playing right now. Everyone kind of approaches the game differently, so you can definitely learn from everybody.
All right, seems correct. So, why don't you kind of talk about, you know, where you've come from since you started playing Yu-Gi-Oh? Maybe like how you started, you know, what your event tops have been in the past leading up to this.
Right. So I started when the game came out, you know, with the Blue Eye Star deck, all that stuff. I went to locals, things like that. I was never that good then. Just kind of stayed in the local area. I didn't play in regionals even. And I actually quit for a couple years after, I think, around when Perfect Circle came out. That was like, I wasn't really playing around then. Then I came back and I've been playing since Plants. And then kind of in the last year to a year and a half, I've been traveling to more events. And actually this season, I got my first regional top at Atlantic City Regionals with Dragon Rulers. The week after ARG Wooster, which is probably what most people recognize me from, is the Philly Regionals. I played Harpy Ladies. I ended up winning the whole thing, which was kind of cool. I went 9-0 with the deck, and now I'm going to Worlds. So yeah, the last year I had my first regional top, and I also had my first Worlds invite. That was kind of crazy.
Right. So also looking back at your Nats performance, so obviously going into Nats, you know, some of the really hyped decks at the time were like, oh, you know, we got to make Sylvans, those are breakable boards, or, oh, you know, Lightsworn's just nuke. What was it that really drove you to play the hat deck at the event?
So it was kind of a process of elimination. I didn't like Sylvans because they kind of lost themselves, and just being able to stand up in 11 rounds of Swiss plus another 6 rounds of Top Cut, it just seemed very unlikely to be able to do that. Yeah, so I decided to not play Sylvans just because I felt like over 11 rounds of Swiss, I was probably going to lose at least one match just to a brick hand and probably lose multiple games to brick hands. I just didn't feel comfortable with going into it with a big tournament. And then Lightsworn, I was playtesting Lightsworn for a while, but what most of us in my playtesting group realized was just it has really, really awful game 2s and 3s. It's so hard to fight through some of the side deck choices that people were making, like Soul Release. Even if you go first in game 2 or 3 with Lightsworn and you have a decent mill, if your opponent opens Soul Release, it's kind of like you didn't get to have a turn at all that first turn because you're kind of being set back so far. Then I kind of got to the hat variants. I was looking at sort of the events in the past. Giordano actually was doing really well with the fat deck at 2 ARG events. He topped 2 in a row. And so that kind of caught my eye. I was also talking to Sean McCabe about the fat deck before WCQ, and we both kind of agreed that it was a really good deck. Actually, the week before WCQ, Cabe and Frazier were both at locals, and we were all talking about the deck and how we were all going to play it. So that kind of made me even more comfortable, just knowing that other really good players were also on that deck. So I decided to play it. It was a nice deck because it has a really long game. So if you're better than your opponent, then your opponent has more opportunities to misplay in a long game. So that was like another benefit to the deck. You could just kind of draw the game out and hope that your opponent misplays and then take advantage of those situations.
All right, well, I believe The Shining is going to be game, so
Oh, wow.
that'll wrap this up. Yeah, I just, I never played with Spellbooks. I'm like, it goes long. It'll make this game long. But it's been nice talking to you. Is there anywhere, people can find you, maybe that you write articles or YouTube or anything like that, or Facebook?
Well, I have a Facebook, Tej Dave, TEJDAVE. I post about YouTube on there a little bit. I don't have any YouTube channels, and right now I'm not writing for anybody, so there's none of that happening. But if I do well at Worlds, maybe I'll write a tournament report for somebody.
All right, well, guys, make sure to go support Tej when he goes to Worlds, and watch him, read up on his events, as well as the other players. Obviously, want North America to bring home that championship. But thank you, Tej, for coming on and playing with me today.
Yeah, man, no problem. Thanks.
And you guys make sure to leave this video a like to help me move on to the next round. And make sure to subscribe to my channel for more great content. And remember, if you want to be good at the game like Tej here, you got to have answers for days. Later, guys.